Hello and welcome to my channel where we may be days, but we are not confused. Today we're going to be doing a pick your ancestor message. And so what I'm going to do is show you 5 different images, and I'd like for you to pick the one that resonates the most deeply with you. Once you make your selection, you can listen to that message or several if you'd like and see if that's for you. All right. Group number 1. So, looking at your cards, it appears that you may have been in a space where you felt like you were trapped in your mind and trapped in your emotions and not really sure about what you needed to do because you just felt bound. You felt like you were just tied up. And looking at this spread, I really feel like it has a lot to do with the connections that you have around you and the influences that you have around you. I get the feeling that there was a lot of just extra added pressure from individuals who may not have actually been well-meaning towards you. And because you had a sense of feeling like you owed them some type of loyalty, like you had to be a part of this, almost like a hive mind is what I'm picking up here. You are a part of a hive of people, which, you usually have like one person, a queen, that sends out the directive or the messages for what it is that the rest of the hive is supposed to do. And I'm almost picking up there might have even been some competition between you and this queen of this hive. So everybody else was a worker bee. Everybody else, their sole purpose was to serve the wishes or the intent of this person or this individual or this entity. And anybody who is not in alignment with that, as you know, within a hive, you're going to be removed from the hive. All right. And then the opposite side of this is if the hive rejects the queen, then they will get rid of the queen. And then there will be another one. And I feel like for some reason you were not quite able to show up in the way that you needed to because you were being bound and trapped by the groupthink in this situation that you were in. And I feel like you thought that you were being flexible. What you felt like was being flexible was actually just kind of hindering yourself and not allowing yourself to show up in your fullest power, not allowing your light to shine for who you are, not allowing your legacy to come through. Because when you are a part of a hive, there's one goal that's going to be passed down by one central person. And anything that's outside of that, let's say that you're not in alignment with that, is going to not have a place there. But if that's the only hive that you know, and that's the only thing that you've been a part of, then what do you do? Okay, I'm not quite sure what happens to bees, like if they were to do something different. I don't know if it even happens that often, like if it's biologically possible for them to do that. Let me know in the comments if that's something that somebody knows about. But what I'm picking up from your ancestors is that there may have also been a sense that, you didn't want to accept the fact that in order to grow, in order to expand yourself, you were going to have to remove yourself from this. And by doing so, you were going to feel a little bit disconnected. But what I'm seeing here that they want you to know is that you don't have to be connected to the hive because your connection to divine guidance is within you. You have your connection from within. You have your connection to your loved ones that lived life before you, that had experiences before you, that have passed down that knowledge and that experience to you so that you could deal with situations, and also so that you could identify and recognize when something doesn't resonate with you so that you can do something different should you need to. And I feel like what's coming through is that you're going to have to accept the fact that inevitably you will have to remove yourself from that. And when you're able to let go of it and release that allegiance and let go of this past way of doing things, this past way of seeing things, this past way of being, then you will be able to become this new thing. And this new thing will be the thing that you are always supposed to be. And it's a part of your legacy. It's a part of who you are. It doesn't have to be something outrageous or something that's just, show stopping. It's just you showing up in the person that you are and allowing yourself to do that, and not trying to adapt and fit in and bend yourself over backwards to fit into something that doesn't work for you. That's not a part of who you are. And when you make this change, and you change your surroundings, you change the people you're in, you change the paradigm that you're being engulfed and enmeshed with, you will find that you are destined to succeed. Why? Because that is your birthright. When you get into alignment with who you are and what it is that you are here to do, and in alignment with what the path is that your ancestors laid before you, and the groundwork that they did, and all of that through the experiences that they had. And even some of these, I'm also picking up that some of these things that might have been blocking you or having you feel trapped could have been things that they went through, that they had to kind of try to get through, that maybe they didn't get through. Hang-ups and fears and phobias and ways of thinking that they were not able to overcome in life. And you have that now in the form of your epigenetic DNA, that you're dealing with certain types of reactions, certain types of beliefs, certain types of ways of being, that this is your chance for you and your ancestors to work that through and to allow the best, highest possible form of yourself to come to the front. And I feel like there's a lot of hope that they have in you, that you are the legacy of who they are, and that they are watching over you. And if you have children now, they're watching over your children now. If you were planning to have children in the future, they would look over them. And even if you decide that you don't want children, they're still looking over you, because you are your ancestors' dream. It's this continuation of this. And so what I'm seeing here is that when you are able to allow all of the colors of who you are to come forth, you will begin to see the blessings start to pour out in your life. You will begin to see just how rich your inheritance is, your spiritual inheritance, and how that will also start to manifest as your physical, material richness, in the form of living a life that's going to be in alignment with what it is that is most in alignment with you, who you really are, what you really care about. I feel like also part of the things that are blocking you is just this need to kind of really clear out any belief systems or patterns that you have that are connecting you and tying you to this hive mind situation. And when I say that, it could even be a family group, it could be a social group, it could be a work group, it could just be a collective way of just seeing yourself in the world in general. But I feel like there's some work that you are being asked to do internally to kind of go through and pick off the dead, rotten, decayed things within yourself that are holding you back, that are keeping you from being able to, move forward. The card that I'm holding, and the reason I say that is because it's a vulture. And so the purpose of a vulture is that they're scavengers. They come after things have expired, after things have passed on, and they come and they basically clean the carcass of that. And then all that you have left are bones, okay? And so I feel like there could be things that, like this hive mind that you're a part of, this thing that you've outgrown, that's not a good fit for you, but you're holding on to. And it's like you're staying in a stagnant, decayed place. And it's time for you to kind of allow the process of allowing that stuff to be picked out of your life. And it might not be fun, it might be uncomfortable, but it's something that inevitably needs to happen. And the sooner that you're able to move forward and allow that to begin to take place, the better that you will find yourself feeling, and the more in alignment you will find yourself being as you move forward into this new space that is better aligned with who you are, that is going to bring you greater fulfillment, a sense of liberation and freedom, and most importantly, it's going to be in alignment with the legacy of what your ancestors laid down for you and what they would like to see for you, which is just the purest existence and, I would say, manifestation of your soul's desire to exist on this planet, okay? All right. So group 1, that's what I have for your reading. If you'd like to check out another one, please feel free to do so. Until the next video. Bye-bye. Group 2. So the message that your ancestors want to try to get across to you, I feel, is about grounding and really connecting deep with your roots, asking yourself who you are, what do you stand for, what are you about, and really allowing yourself to move from that space. So what I'm seeing here with these cards is there may have been a space where you might have felt as if you weren't really sure about how you viewed something. You might have felt very ungrounded. You might have felt like you were a little bit deluded in a situation. So maybe you had a very almost overly optimistic view of something, and then you found out later that maybe that's not what it was. And you weren't able to really see it because I feel like you were in a space of just wanting to, you were trying to receive like nurturance or sustenance. And what it was that you were taking in may not have been allowing you to connect logically with what was happening. So I feel like there was like a disconnect with the emotion and the logic in a situation. And so I feel like your ancestors are asking you to look deep, ground yourself, go deep within, maybe even do some research into their lives and who they were as well, or ask them about what their lives were like, what were the things that they experienced, because I feel like you would get some clues about what it is that you've been experiencing, some of the patterns that you're prone to go into, and some of the like repeating cycles that you might even be experiencing personally and in your relationships might be tied back in some way to the way that your ancestors experienced their relationships and what their style was and how they dealt with things. And you know, of course, when we talk about that, we're talking about our epigenetic DNA and the information that they pass on to us in the form of our DNA, and how, you know, there's so much research around that and how our bodies read that information beyond just using it to create our organs when we're being created in the womb. It's just ongoing information, and that's passed on. So if your ancestors had certain experiences and it released certain chemicals in their body because they had this experience, then they passed it on to you. And in a way, you're kind of wired the same way. So, you know, I feel like there's something about that you would find helpful for you in understanding why it is that you go through certain cycles. And then once you're able to figure out what that is, you can start to take action to begin the process of cleaning some of that up, or trying to refine or fine tune it to something that is more in alignment with how you would like to show up. Because I feel like maybe this isn't the way you would show up, and there could even be some fear in this that's also kind of guiding this. So if there's a sense of, you know, maybe being just for example, like afraid of being alone, or afraid of not having a certain amount of money, or afraid of not being liked, or afraid of not being successful, or, any of those types of fears. It could very much drive a behavior that could make you kind of be not really connecting and rooting and grounding in very deeply with actually how you feel, as opposed to how you would like to feel, to avoid the sense of fear that you would not, this fear that you would have a certain experience. So it's almost like disconnecting, almost like I'm picking up like cognitive dissonance almost. Another thing that I'm saying is that it's important for you to also pay attention if you're having dreams at night, because the dreams that you're having are sometimes your brain's way of trying to just process things. And it's just kind of like, regurgitating all the stuff that it's been processing and kind of trying to deal with or make sense of that doesn't make sense. And so I feel like you might be getting messages there, and I feel like your ancestors might also be speaking to you through your dreams as well, to try to help you make a connection, this union of mind and spirit. And by doing this will allow you also to explore your depths of why it is that you process things the way that you do, why you're experiencing those things, and then allow you to kind of become more grounded because you're able to see and process that you are doing that. And you have the power by doing so to actually heal yourself and to actually allow yourself to kind of make this connection to come back together if there was this cognitive dissonance that was putting you into a space of feeling kind of deluded in a situation. And I'm not sure if this is a relationship or a job or whatever it is, but it's just an overall sense of really not being connected and rooted in who you are. And another thing that I'm picking up is that this could be because there may just be a lack of knowledge about your family history. So it could be that perhaps you don't know who your family is, or it could be that you know who your family is, but you don't know a lot about their personal lives. You could have come from a family where people didn't really talk about what their personal problems were. Maybe they had to put on their best face. And because of that, maybe as a child or even as an adult, people just didn't really talk about who they were and the things that they dealt with and what their challenges were. And so it was more about, the mask of what we feel like we're supposed to show up as, and that's not to cast judgment at all, because we all do it. We all wear masks and we have to show up a certain kind of way because at some level, it's not really acceptable for us to show up the way that we would like to. So we have to do that at some level. But what I'm seeing here is that what will help you, and this is, your ancestor message, is to really try to get an understanding about who they were. And this is not just your living relatives. I feel like it's important to know your living relatives, but if you have some, maybe ask questions about ones that have passed on. If you have a relative that you felt particularly fond of or that you felt connected to, or even one that maybe you didn't know that well in life, but you feel as if there's some kind of connection between the two of you, I would ask a living relative now if they can provide you like some personal anecdotal stories about who they were, not just from the perspective of trying to show them in the best light, but like really the truth, like how did you experience them? What were some of their challenges? What were some of the things that they said? Do you remember what kind of habits that they had? What was their biggest hope? What was their biggest fear? If they were able to get any of that information. Asking those kinds of questions, I feel, will give you a lot of insight into something that you're dealing with here. And I feel like it's the missing piece to understanding why you might be doing something. And I really feel like it's coming from a space of like really not being very in tune with yourself, but it's because you may not have like a context for it, or you may not feel like there's anybody else in your family or anybody else who is going through the same kind of things. But I feel like asking this question about a past family member will open up a door for you to really make this connection, so that once you see this pattern, it will allow you to kind of face up to any fears that you may have had that might have kind of set you off on this path of kind of creating almost like a cognitive dissonance to cope with whatever the situation is. And in doing so, it will bring you to a space of having your mind, body, and spirit connected in one, and not being, split-minded in this situation. All right, so that is my group message for group two rather. And if you'd like to check out another message to see if that resonates with you, then that would be awesome. And maybe I'll see you on another video. But until next time, bye-bye. Group 3. So the message that's coming through from your ancestors is that there is a need to let go of attachments to things that might be holding you back or causing you to not show up in your highest possible vibration. This could be addiction, this could be toxic relationships, it could be bad habits, it could be just giving in to that part of yourself that just is a personal saboteur, the part of yourself that sabotages you and blocks you from getting your dreams, the part of you that does the opposite of what it is that you want to do when you want to do it. And if you're able to do that, this will allow you to come into a space where you will have blessings just coming into your life. And ultimately, it's just this very strong energy of needing to let go of something and allow your true colors to shine forth. Allow your personal soul to kind of shine. Let your soul glow. That's like the thing I've been kind of saying personally lately is, you need to let your soul glow. And if you've ever seen Coming to America, there's a part in the movie where this guy has a jerry curl and he's talking about the soul glow, but it's funny in the movie, but when you think about what that is saying, there's so much power in that. And it's the biggest thing to me about letting your soul glow is that it's so important because so many people don't have soul glow, and we live in a world specifically kind of set up to not have your soul glow. And so when you're able to do that, you're able to offer not only your soul a chance to be at its highest vibration and to show up and to just be the way it wanted to be, but you're also helping the people around you know that it's okay to do that. And I feel like that's what your ancestors want you to do. I'm also picking up that it would be important for you to seek wisdom and guidance from elders. All right, so maybe finding a mentor or someone that you trust. This could be a living relative, or this could be someone outside of your family, but there's like a sense of like a need for mentorship perhaps, so that you can move into a path that's more in alignment with who you are. I feel like you might have also been really holding on to like an old way of doing things, like a conventional way, and doing so might have been like hindering you. This sounds very similar to group number 1, where they were talking about being connected with this hive mind that was kind of negatively impacting who they were. Very strong connections with the soul glow energy. And this to me is saying that you need to let go of the things that are kind of binding you to convention. This could be old family traditions and beliefs. And I think that that's really, really powerful, that an ancestor would be speaking to you about letting go of a convention that's within a family, possibly, because it could be a limiting type of belief or a limiting paradigm that would kind of set you up on a path to not be able to be your unique self. And I feel like this is in preparation for the fact that there's a new rhythm and a new way of being that's trying to come into your life. And what your ancestors are saying is that you are encouraged to really trust and adapt to that. Like, this is not something that's coming to harm you. And if you might have been questioning that because it's a family tradition, or this is how it's always done, or you have people living right now that are pressuring you socially to do things a certain way. And it doesn't have to be something outrageous. It could just be that, you want to go to college, or you want to move to a new city, or move to a new state and nobody's ever moved outside of your state, or you want to try to go overseas and do something and no one's ever done it before. This is a message from your ancestor telling you that it's important to let go of this connection to this tradition that might be limiting who you are, and that you are being supported. Your ancestors who watch over you and who are also honored, your honored ancestors that are part of your family, they are cheering you on, and they would not feel as if you were betraying their legacy or going against what they set up. Because I'm also picking up that there could be people who, when they're living and you had that social pressure, a lot of times you hear, oh, well, this is how it was always done. And if your so-and-so was alive, they would feel like this. And if you're this and this and that was alive, they would do that. And I feel like this is them coming through and saying that they may not be alive, but if they were, they would support you and pat you on the back, because you are moving forward and you're helping to evolve and bring in new life and new ways of being for your family line that you could pass on possibly to your children, or it can become a ripple effect that's good for everyone. All right. And I feel like this is the key to blessings in your life as well. I'm also picking up that, it's really important for you to not lose your magic tortoise. So there is a myth that talks about a magic tortoise and how your power in connecting with yourself and allowing yourself to kind of show up the way that you need to, that is your personal power to make things happen the way you need them to happen, to make you have the life that you want to live, that's going to give you your highest joy. And this is basically saying not to let your magic tortoise go. All right, so I feel like this is your ancestor saying that there is treasure within you, and if you follow that and you listen to it and you cultivate that and you honor that, it's going to take you exactly where you need to go, because that's where you want to go. And I'm also picking up that it's a part of your path, and it's not just for you, it's for your legacy, your lineage of your family members, and how they move and grow. Each person's life adds to the legacy of the life that came before it. And I feel like the life that was lived by your ancestors in the past was not so much to try to set up a box for you to be within for the rest of your life, but it was a brick on the path so that you could go add your own flavor, add your own thing to it. It wasn't to confine you, it was to liberate you and give you even more opportunities to grow and develop and thrive. That's the most important thing, that's coming through right now, is to thrive. You are wanting to thrive. I feel like you are supposed to bring into form the wildest dreams that your ancestors that they never knew that they had. And that's the energy that I'm picking up, is that you being a living relative of your ancestors, which when we speak of ancestors, we're talking about those who have passed on, that were in our family before us, who came before us. You being in form means that you are able to walk your walk and walk your path, and you're cheered on and supported in doing that. But when that gets twisted sometimes to be, oh, well, they don't want you to do anything, they want you to stay in the same thing, and it becomes more manipulative and kind of in a way to hold you back, that kind of goes against that energy. So I feel like at least in this group of ancestors, you are being encouraged to walk your walk, follow the path that is unique to you, even if it kind of shirks tradition, even if it's not the norm. I'm seeing Coco, the Disney movie Coco, that just came up. Follow your path, because there could even be this thing that you're wanting to do that people might be saying that you shouldn't do, or that's so off, outlandish. One of your ancestors may have actually done before, and you're actually repeating a cycle and going through a similar path of what they did, and maybe nobody knows that they actually did that. So this tradition that you have, this could be you, or maybe you're watching Coco. Maybe somebody's watching Coco and they saw this. But I'm picking up that for someone, like, this is for real what you're going through. Whatever it is that you're trying to do that your family members are not supportive of, you have ancestors that actually did do that. And that's how your family got to be where they are right now. They wouldn't be there where they are to be able to have a tradition or have something if this other ancestor hadn't taken a leap of faith and kind of gone off the beaten path and done something different than what their family did. Because I'm sure, that's a repeating thing. There's always a tradition. There's always something that we have to uphold and kind of keep the same. And they did something different. They stepped outside the box and they took this chance, and it led to this branch of your family having this new tradition. And you know what? When you do this and you walk on your path, and you get the support of your ancestors, and you know that they're cheering you on, just like theirs were cheering them on, then you'll find that there may be a whole new branch of a family that's doing the same thing. They might come up with a whole tradition around what you were able to bring into form by walking on your path. But hopefully what will happen is, moving forward, that even when those traditions are created, that there will also be the encouragement of people to step on their unique paths to add that brick onto this foundation or this path of legacy within this family. Okay. All right. So group 3, that is what I have for you. And I hope it was helpful. If you'd like to check out another video, then I will see you over there. But if not, until the next video, bye-bye. All right, group 4. So the message from your ancestors here is that there is a need to, I feel like there's a sense of needing to come out of conflict, or you're just now coming out of conflict with some type of abuse of power, some power dynamic. This could be a boss. This could be a situation where it's in relationship and someone was sitting in a seat and taking advantage of a power control they had in a situation. And this is you coming out of conflict and trying to fight and prove your point, or be in the energy of trying to overpower this person or try to get your power back, and really withdraw within yourself to really give yourself what you need outside of this conflict. Okay. There's a sense also of really taking some time to be grateful for all of the things that you do have. If there was a sense where you felt like you had to compete with this person to try to prove that you were just as good as them, or just as worthy as them, or just as talented, or just as professional as them, there's a sense of taking a moment to stop, look at yourself and who you are, and recognize that, just because you may not be up to whatever standard it is that this person has set into place or into motion, this could also be an organization, some type of authority as well, that just because you were getting that sense that, maybe you weren't able to fight and prove that you were just as good or just as able to, kind of throw your power around. Because I feel like in a lot of situations like that, we tend to see a celebration of very narcissistic, abusive power energies, and look at that as being a sign of leadership, a sign of someone who should be in control of others. But what I see from your ancestors is that there is a need to remove yourself from that. Just don't even try to prove yourself. Don't try to even compete, and look deep within yourself. Instead of putting that energy out there, put it within yourself and try to fight through to find the treasure that's within you, because in that spot is where your true power comes from. I feel like once you start to do that, and even if you're not able to see that in yourself, if you stop and you take a look around at everything that you do have and your ability to make things happen or to do all that you do, and if you could be grateful for that, that's going to really open up the door to you for honor and good luck. And it's also going to be a way for you to stop this repetitive cycle It's like a never-ending story of trying to prove yourself, and quite frankly, not be recognized, and for it to never quite be enough. And I feel like it's like a vicious cycle that prevents you from really showing up in your power, and always having to give your power away to people who, no matter what you do, will never ever validate who you are. They will never acknowledge who you are. They will never give you your flowers. I've heard somebody say that before, and I thought that was an awesome phrase. I'm stealing that. But people that will just never ever recognize you, but you will waste all of your talent, all of your time, all of your energy, all the best parts of you trying to prove that you are, so that you can be given some type of co-signature or endorsement that, quite frankly, if you were to receive that, would actually be a threat to the individuals that you're trying to impress. So this is why I feel your ancestors are saying that they want you to kind of almost go like into like a fetal position and allow yourself to kind of just nurture yourself. And I feel like what they want you to nurture yourself on is your family source. Like, who are you? Like, who are your people? Who are the people that you came from? What are the stories of what they came from? Because I feel like this authority, or these people that are elevated above you right now, that you're having to prove yourself to, like, I feel like they always have a story of how they got to be there, because you always have to have one. You have to have one about why this person or this group is more worthy than you to be in the position that they're in, and all the things that are wrong with you, so that you can get to work on trying to fix it, so that you can maybe one day have a chance. But I feel like what they want you to do is to remove yourself from that and really go within. And, like we said before, it's like find that treasure within. Also look at your people, like your family. What are their stories? Some of your ancestors as well. I got this on the previous reading for group number 3. This need to kind of do some family research, not just on what the people's names were. Like if you know living relatives that knew them in life and that knew them in person, ask questions like, what kind of fears did they have? What kind of struggles did they go through? When were they the happiest? When were they the saddest? What do you remember about this and this and that? Because it will give you some keys as to who they were, and maybe some of the challenges that they had to overcome, and the victories that they had in their own life. And you can look at your life and then kind of cross-reference and really draw on that, because then I feel like once you get these stories and you understand just where they came from and how far they've actually come, that will just pop this bubble that's kind of like over your head and causing you to feel as if you have to constantly compete and prove and show yourself to these individuals who are not recognizing you. And it will let you see and have gratitude for the work that was put in by your ancestors and family members to put you in a position to be where you are. Because then from that place, this place of being replenished, this place of feeling as if you are grounded and rooted in the truth of what you come from, will give you a proper foundation for moving forward into situations and circumstances that are better suited for you and that will honor who you are. So, another thing that I'm seeing here with this canary card is that doing this work to really look within and see where your family came from is going to give you the power in finding your voice. Now, another thing I'm seeing here is that in this research, for some of you, it might be like opening a Pandora's box, because you might hear a lot of things or find out things that you didn't know and that you may not have expected to hear, or it might completely just kind of shatter your ideas of who you thought your people were. But I feel like it's necessary, because this is going to help you connect with your personal power, by giving you a sense of pride, a sense of recognizing, for better or for worse, just who you come from and what the legacy was. And that might give you that inspiration to try to add your own flavor onto that. I mean, I feel like this could be positive or negative things. This could be like some really negative stuff that had happened, and then you see how much your family has really kind of got away from that, or they turned over this new leaf, or maybe they had like a reputation for being a certain way, and now they're, you know, super reputable. They show up a totally different way. Or it could be the other way around, where they had all these wonderful things that they overcame, and they really did all this stuff. And then looking at yourself now, you can use that as inspiration in this circumstance. Okay. I also feel like, and this is for maybe just a few, I'm picking up canary in the coal mine. I've gotten that before in a reading, but there could be something that by finding out this information from your family and really finding the power in your voice, it may give you the strength to speak up about something that might be happening. And you might need to speak out to these people in power to try to get a message across that, you know, they may need to hear, but that they may not have accepted because you are not at the right, you know, the right pay grade or the right rank or the right whatever. But what you're saying is valid and it's very important. And if they listen to you, it could turn out that you end up maybe saving either a lot of money or preventing some sort of, you know, collapse or disaster or something that might be at risk of shaking up the structure that they're overlooking, and that no one, either because of intimidation or maybe just a lack of knowledge about it, is willing to speak up about. You know, I'm picking up, it could even be computers. It could be a tech issue that could cause like computers to crash or something like that. Whatever it is, I feel like you're being encouraged by your ancestors to find the power in your voice by connecting with who you are and finding the treasure within yourself and seeing all the reasons why you are worthy, whether people acknowledge you as being such, and why you are endorsed and accepted, whether people acknowledge you as such by your ancestors and by the legacy that you come from. Okay. All right, so group 4, that is what I have for you. I hope it was helpful, and if you'd like to check out another video, then I will see you over there. If not, then I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Group number 5. So the message that I'm seeing here from your ancestors is that there may be a need for you to be mindful about your words that you speak in a situation where you might have received a lot of injustice. There's justice that's coming in for you, but be careful about how you enact that. And I feel like it could be because it could either come back to bite you later because you might be overly harsh, or it might not come across in the way that you were meaning for it to. But I am seeing that there is a sense of justice in a situation that may have been hidden. It may not have been clear, but I feel like that the justice and the fair and balanced thing will take place here. I'm also picking up that, you know, you might be in a space where you were feeling, you know, really, really down, or feeling like you weren't seeing a lot of positivity around you. And so there was this sense of needing to really try to see the bright side of a very dark situation. And there might have been a tendency in doing so to kind of lean towards, you know, embracing illusions, because the illusion was so much nicer than the reality. I had another reading for this. This was more like cognitive dissonance, and another one, I think it might have been video too. I'm not sure though, but the sense of, you know, trying so hard to see the positive, trying so hard to be optimistic in a very kind of dark situation, that it might have, like I said, led more to illusion. And, it could have been that just like you were exhausted from, dealing with the situation. Perhaps you were surrounded by a social group or a tribe that had a certain way of doing things, a certain way of seeing things. And so for you to kind of see or to speak out would have been just really difficult. And it was just easier for you to just try to be as optimistic as possible, be as positive as possible. And you're being asked to kind of take a break from that, allow yourself to give yourself a chance to heal, a chance to process how you really feel about certain situations, because when you do so, you might find yourself super upset about the reality of what you were dealing with and putting up with in an attempt to just be as positive and optimistic as possible. And in being in that sense of righteous indignation, you might say things that you may not mean, or maybe you'll say things that you mean but that don't have the intended effect that you were wanting to have. So I feel like your ancestors are also saying that it's important to allow yourself to clear the past away. So allow yourself to feel your feelings. Don't bypass it by saying that it's not there, but really get into the emotion of that. Like give yourself permission to really feel deeply all of the emotions that come along with that. That includes anger, that includes resentment, that includes, if it's embarrassment or indignation, whatever it is. Allow yourself to feel that really, 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 really deeply, because when you do that, it's going to allow you to clear out that energy so that you can move forward into a more peaceful and prosperous future. One that's not going to be weighed down by these things, this deep injustice I feel that you have experienced in the past, okay? I feel like you might have even been, what you might also pick up, I feel like your ancestors are showing that maybe they were also trying to help you by giving you signs or red flags. Maybe you were noticing a lot of synchronicities where this is involved, and maybe you didn't always listen to them, but because you now are becoming more aware, or allowing yourself to become more aware of the reality of the situation, you might look back on everything and really start to piece together what was happening and start to see where you were getting signs, and you might have been getting little intuitive hits. What I'm picking up here is that some of that was your ancestors, your loving ancestors, that were trying to help you and guide you and let you know, oh, here's a red flag, or this was happening, or that was happening, so that you can do something about your circumstance. And you may not have felt like you were able to. Like I said, it could have been because you were a part of this group and you weren't allowed to do that. But I'm looking here, again, I have this vulture card, and it's saying, that it's basically important for you to just accept the fact that some things are what they are. And when you're able to look at it for what it is and deal with that, it gives you the permission, and it gives you the ability to move forward in a situation the way that you need to. Not just from a place of trying to fit in or not offend anyone, or, even more so, not wanting to shock yourself or have to deal with just how, off-putting something really was. But letting that go and allowing it to, to kind of almost pick yourself clean of the parts that will hold you back and be toxic and just not helpful, will allow you to move forward in a positive, happy direction in your life. I feel like what your ancestors are also saying is that moving forward, it's important to not only choose your verbal words carefully, but the words that you speak to the universe, the signals that you send out to the universe about what it is that you want to experience, how you want to live your life, because I feel like you're going to be in a huge space of like manifesting the life that is going to be resonating with wherever you are. And I feel like you may not have felt like you could do that before, and you were just kind of trying to fit into a fold or fit into a mold of people in order to maintain that social order. But you're coming into a time of like amazing, this level of freedom that will allow you to really be who you are. And in doing so, you're going to attract, lots of experiences and people that will align with wherever you are. So I feel like your ancestors are saying that, make sure you take your time to really not just look at what your circumstances are, but also take some time to try to understand why you are connecting with certain types of things as well. Because doing so will allow you to understand why it is that you feel like you need to kowtow or walk on eggshells around people who might be putting you in unfair situations or committing acts that are unjust to you as a person. All right. So that's what I have for you for group 5. Hope it was helpful. Please feel free to check out another video if you like. If not, then I will see you on the next video in the future. Bye-bye.